Welcome back to Big Country Politics on KTAB.
Well, welcome to the Sunday conversation here on Big Country Politics. This week our special guest is House District 98 State Representative out of Southlake, Texas, Mr. Giovanni Capriglione. House Representative, thank you so much for making time for us today.
Good morning, Manny. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, the biggest topic of discussion, and certainly it's a topic in a lot of arenas in the media, heck, in just in everyday life now, artificial intelligence. You were featured on an article on the Texas Scorecard where you're looking to propose measures to regulate artificial intelligence development, which is unique into its own. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of the bill here in a bit, but first and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself and certainly how you got into really into the discussion of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Giovanni, and I'm going into my 7th session in the Texas Legislature. I've always, since I was a kid, interested in technology and computers. And I have a bachelor's of science in physics, and so I spent a lot of my career in semiconductor design and electrical engineering. And so, of course, I've always been interested in both science fiction and real science. And now with the opportunity to work on policy and technology policy, I think there's an absolute need for us to look at legislation, regulation when it comes to artificial intelligence.
So going from being a scientist/engineer now to a politician, tell me how those worlds collided.
It didn't start that way. I think I've always been interested in making sure, of course, that America and Texas have innovation, that we have the best workforce, that we're focused on competing on the global scale. And so for myself, I've always been more interested on the technology side, the computer programming, on how technology helps people. I was elected, and it didn't take me long to realize that that's actually my expertise. So over the last few years, I have focused on cybersecurity, on protecting people's privacy online, by making sure that we upgrade our computer systems here in the state of Texas to protect against these cyber attacks that are hitting us all the time. And so that's how it collided, right? I mean, I think today, more than ever, technology is in everybody's life, right? When people talk about things, when they even talk about politics, it's usually through some technical device, whether it's their cell phone or their computer. And so those worlds have collided for everybody.
AI, artificial intelligence, I mean, we see it in everything now. I mean, in the journalism world, it's ChatGPT, certainly how we can craft headlines, or we can ask it to do stuff for us, or just in everyday use. Tell me, why is there, from your perspective, why is there a need to really regulate this at this moment?
Sure. And AI has been around, as you know, for a long time, right? I mean, when you use Google Maps, you're essentially using artificial intelligence. When you're using your thermostat, chances are there's artificial intelligence and algorithms behind there that are optimizing your heating and your AC to help save you money. So we've been using this for a long time. But what we've seen over the last 2 to 3 years, for sure, but over the last decade even more so, is that the rate of technological change and advancement is happening at an unprecedented scale. Change is happening faster than it ever has. And so what used to be a tool that was relatively helpful all the time or out of the way, now has gained incredible power, and it is involved in a lot of our daily lives. And so as it becomes more powerful, as people use it more, it is a responsibility, I think, for all of us to make sure that it is being used responsibly and ethically.
Mm-hmm. Do we truly know the full capability of AI? I mean, has pretty much have we just been able to really kind of peel back just one layer of the onion here?
I would say that AI has had a 50-year lifespan so far, but over the next 5 years, its growth is going to be incredible and unprecedented. I mean, it is already being used in everything from agriculture to medicine, right? How we're able to go and conserve water, how we're going to be able to discover just incredible new breakthroughs in medicine. People are using it today for assistance, right? Automated robots that go out and help them schedule events. But we're just at the beginning of this. And if you just look at how much investment is going into this, both from big companies, but also governments, you'll see that this is dawn, and we're getting ready to go. Which is why I think it's so important that we start looking at how to go and create these guardrails, right? To make sure that, yes, we want all of those positives that are happening. Everybody here wants to be able to automate a lot of their lives, be more efficient. Companies want to be able to use it to be more profitable. But at the same time, we've got to create these guardrails, right? Because these tools are powerful. And when you think about the types of decisions that they're going to make, in many cases without a human in the loop, completely autonomous, it is a requirement that we look at how to go and have legislation that protects Texans.
As a lawmaker, how much do you see this as like, wow, this is cool, but wow, this is kind of scary at the same time?
I do have to kind of balance those in my head as well, because I think this is incredibly cool. Since I was a kid, reading those novels, since all of us used to watch TV and watch those movies about how robots were so helpful, I mean, this is incredibly exciting, right? But we've also seen the potential risks of that, right? We've seen it in deep fakes that are online. We've seen it in misinformation, disinformation. We've seen how AI could negatively affect elections and the integrity of those elections. We know that there are problems, there are mistakes, there are bugs, if you will, you call them, in these programs that now could inadvertently or deliberately negatively impact people. And so we try and balance that, right? We want Texas to be the world leader in everything. We do. Texas is awesome. We want it to be the world leader in AI. At the same time, we also want it to be the world leader in responsible, ethical AI.
Very much so. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more with House District 98 Representative from South Lake, Giovanni Capriglione. We're talking about House Bill 1709 and the regulation of artificial intelligence development as we peel back the onion on this just a little bit more. That and more after the break.
Welcome back to Big Country Politics on KTAB.
Well, welcome back to our Sunday conversation here on Big Country Politics. This week, our special guest is Giovanni Capriglione. He is the House District Representative from District 98 in South Lake, Texas. Giovanni, thank you so much. We were talking a little bit about artificial intelligence. You're not just a politician, you are a scientist. So that I don't think I've ever put those two things together in a sentence ever, but that's very interesting, very cool at the same time. We were talking a little bit about how you've been able to dissect artificial intelligence. Tell us a bit about House Bill 1709, because this is very interesting. Certainly, the regulation of artificial intelligence development. Tell us about this and certainly the genesis of it.
Sure, and I'll talk a little bit about how this bill is formed, right?
Yes.
So we have spent. My office and myself, we have spent probably 9 months working on this legislation. We've had multiple, we call them stakeholder meetings, where we invite members of the public, members from industry, consumer advocates to all meet and discuss and provide input. When we had this first draft of this bill that we presented in November of this year, we had literally hundreds of participants in this big meeting that I held, each of which also gave additional input, amendments that they wanted and corrections. And so this has been really a really big project, a group project, and it's gotten a lot of input from a lot of people. And so we finally put all the pieces together and filed this bill last session. And what it aims to do is, first of all, make sure that AI is transparent and that there's accountability. What that means is when you're using artificial intelligence, let people know you're using artificial intelligence. When it makes a decision, explain how that decision was made. These decisions are not going to be just how do I get from point A to point B. It's, am I approved for that loan? Am I going to be able to get that housing? Am I going to be able to get a job interview, right? So these are things that really impact people. Is how is it going to affect my ability to get government services, transportation, right? So we want to make sure is that it's transparent, explainable, that there is no bias or discrimination in the decisions that these tools are making, right? I mean, AI is essentially trained on data. It has been observing and it's given information about humans may have acted before, but sometimes that information is wrong and it's garbage. And so what we're requiring is a lot more effort by the developers to make sure that the inputs and the outputs are treating people fairly and equitably. And then finally, what I would say is there's a massive amount of data. Every single day, there's information being collected about all of us, right? From where you are to who you're talking to, about what your favorite clicks are on social media, to the conversations you're having. So make sure that these companies are protecting that data and not selling it and not having it stolen.
The Texas scorecard talked a little bit about, the prohibiting the AI systems that manipulate human behavior, engage in social scoring, capturing biometrics, producing deep fakes. I guess, how often do these things happen without us truly knowing?
Well, I would make the argument that they're already happening, right? There's already algorithms out there that are hooked up to security cameras, right? That are already hooked up to public-facing cameras that go and start seeing who you are, seeing what you're doing. In some cases, that makes sense, right? Especially if it's a private organization that's trying to monitor things. But if you go on social media, you know that there's these algorithms that are placing certain ads, and everyone always wonders, like, hey, is it listening to me? How does it know? Well, the reality is artificial intelligence has collected a lot of data about you and about your family. And so in many cases, AI and those algorithms and those advertisers know more about you than you know about yourself. And so what we're trying to make sure is that as they're doing that in an ethical, responsible way, that they're protecting that data and people are aware of that information, how to correct it, and maybe how to delete it.
Security is something that everyone is passionate about. How confident are you that you can get this bill pushed past the goal line?
Yeah, I will tell you one of the great things about working on technology, whether it's cybersecurity or privacy or artificial intelligence, it really is a bipartisan effort. There isn't a lot of partisanship in making sure that Texans are protected, that our information is safe and secure, that our minor children are protected from some of these influences from outside. No one wants AI to negatively influence them, right? Everyone wants the ability to go and be able to get housing and borrow money based on the merits of what they're doing, and done with the ability to appeal to a human. And so I have seen support from this across the aisle and across the chambers.